Science, 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 science.
Welcome to episode 3 of A Moment of Science with Mr. Solis. We have our guest, Mr. Quintero from down the hall, and this week's guest makes it a full Kingsborough podcast. It's Miss Norman from 7th grade. Miss Norman, would you like to introduce yourself to the 6th graders?
Introduce myself?
Yeah.
I'm Miss Norman. I'm 7th grade science teacher. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I actually, in the last podcast, I told the students to give me some questions for you next week, which would be today. So I have a couple of questions I'll ask you in just a little bit. But
Okay.
I like to start each podcast with asking you guys how you are handling the quarantine. Because as both of y'all know by now, I am going nuts. But I want to know what you guys are doing. So, Norman, what's something that you're doing to keep yourself sane?
I've watched a lot of Netflix. I've been binge watching shows. I just finished a couple of ones that I've been working on. So, that, and then I've gone on a couple of walks. And I'm constantly telling my kids to do work. They don't want to.
How many people do you live with?
I've got my 2 kids. I have a daughter who's a sophomore in high school, so she's 16, and my son is in 7th grade, like my students, and he just turned 13. And then we have 1 cat and 2 dogs and 2 hamsters.
So what's been the hardest part about being quarantined?
I think the hardest thing is just if I need something, I think I put it off until I have like a list of things that I need because I don't want to go to the store. It's like this weird feeling of there seems like nothing's wrong and everything seems perfectly fine, but I have this feeling of I shouldn't go to the store. I don't know. It's just this weird like feeling. I don't know. It's odd.
What about you, Quintero? How you been doing?
I've been doing all right. I think right now, though, I woke up early in the morning and I thought, damn, I need a haircut.
Yeah.
And so I was watching these these Facebook posts about how the wives are cutting their husband's hair now, right? And they're posting it. And I was like, I might have to do that because it's driving this as short as this looks or whatever, it feels really long and it bothers me a lot. And so that now has started to concern me in quarantine, among other things. But I mean, it's been challenging, I guess. But what can you do, right? I mean, the hardest part is not going out and socializing. That's a big. You realize how much people actually do that. It's a big deal. So anyhow, staying safe though. Staying home.
How do you think your mood has been? How's your mood changed?
Mine has been, I think we can get irritated a little more with each other in the household by little things, only because it's just constant. Like, in the summer you stay home, but people leave. They go out, they go to the store, they go with their friends. It's not like it's like summertime. It's different. You're in the household with other people all day long, and you have to find things to do to not drive each other crazy. So that's been it's crazy.
What about you, Norman? How's your mood been?
I've been a little more irritable than normal. I usually have a little more patience than I've had. If I'm trying to have a meeting or do grades or something and my kids are pestering me, Mom, look at this TikTok, or Mom, I need you to do this. I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah, I am extremely agitated, and it's getting worse by the week.
Are you locked in a room? Virginia says, stay in this room. You're not allowed to come out.
No, it's just I stay in one room. I watch TV. I go to another room. I think the thing that has been helping the last week is that I started working out again, and I started jogging in the morning. So I'll wake up at 7 and I'll work out, and then I'll go run around outside around my neighborhood for about 30 minutes. And that makes me feel better, but it's still
That releases endorphins.
Yeah. But I just still feel really antsy. And then I feel like I do get on social media and then I'll see some posts and it just gets me like super angry. And before I was like, man, I just ignore it, whatever. And now I just want to reply to everything. And the people who just deny all this is happening, like I have a friend who's like, no, I don't believe in the media. I don't believe in any of this. This is all just made up. They're just trying to scare people so we can watch TV and buy more stuff. And I just want to just go off on them. But I'm like, that's not going to help me do anything.
Yeah, I have a friend that, I mean, I love her to death, but it's a bunch of us, we group chat all the time, and she wanted to have a birthday party for her daughter, and she wanted us all to come to her house this weekend. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And she's like, but it's not fair to my daughter that her birthday falls during this time. We need to celebrate. And I'm like, well, it's not fair to anyone this is happening, but in order to stop it, you need to stay home and not congregate with all your friends. Like,
yeah.
It's ridiculous. I just don't understand why they don't get it. I mean, I guess because the numbers aren't like, you know, they're like the flu kills more people or this or that, but this is just so different and you have to stop it or it's going to get really bad.
Yeah. Like if we were to take the measures we're taking now with the flu, then the flu wouldn't kill that many people.
Right.
So it's just that in order to understand some of this, you do have to apply some type of scientific knowledge, even at the most basic level. And some people aren't doing that. It's just they just want the easy, like, well, who dies more? Oh, these people die more. Well, then that one must be worse. And that's not necessarily the way it works.
Well, and I've heard people, oh, well, it's only the older people that are dying, so I'm okay. Well, now, you know, it's trickling. Yeah. It's not based on your age. It's based on your health prior to. And I mean, I get asthma, you know, like a little bit of asthma with my allergies. So I'm scared of getting it. Yeah. I mean, I have to use an inhaler, you know, during allergy season. So I'm like, well, if I get it, am I going to be okay? So I'm being careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't know. I saw that. I saw a post of a picture, and you might have seen this, where, like I said, 3% out of 100 people, if they get corona, and they die, right? 3 out of 100. That's the basically percentage. So they're like, oh, it's just 3. That's a low percentage. It's not, you know, it's a low risk. But the example was, and I might have seen this, where if you had 100 Skittles and 3 of them were poisonous and they could kill you, and you had a bowl of 100 and 3 of them in there could kill you, would you still scoop your hand in there, pick them out, and eat it?
Exactly.
My answer would be no, I wouldn't. Well, that's kind of the same gamble you're taking. Mm-hmm. If you don't take precautions and you just disregard and say, I don't care if I get it, then that's akin to that example of the Skittles. So it's kind of thinking about.
That's a good example.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I would, but
no, you wouldn't.
I have a good immune system. No,
I mean, if it was Takis, I might.
Yeah, I'm not a big M&M fan. Okay, so let's start talking about space. Now we're talking, our teaks are about gravity and the planets. So let me start off with a question that I got from one of my 6th graders. They want to know, how did scientists come up with the names of the galaxies? I have no idea.
I don't know that I ever researched that, to tell you the truth.
A few by shapes and the way they look, like the sombrero galaxy.
There is
like a sombrero hat.
Well, I know that the Milky Way galaxy was named Milky Way because they said that it looked like spilled milk up on the sky. Isn't that true?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes. Galaxy names, and a lot of them have numbers designated by scientists from, I don't know how they do that, but they'll say like Galaxy 11 dash whatever they have. So some of them have numbers designated to them, but
yes,
but the names I think the names of them are a lot of shapes, like not just galaxies, but like nebulas, like the Eagle Nebula, the Pillars of Creation Nebula. A lot of them have to do how they look. I think of how they look, and they just give them a tag. They name them, give them some kind of name. Those are pretty cool names.
Here's a question. This is one that we were talking about last week, Quintero, and I guess they didn't really understand. So I want to see maybe if you can go a little bit more in depth into it. They were kind of confused about why we can't see the sun, like why we have to take 8 minutes to see the sun. Why can't we just see it the way it is right now?
Because the sun is millions and millions of miles away. I don't think it's because it's hard for them to grasp distance, the distance and the vastness of our solar system in space, as opposed to their perspective on Earth. Mr. B last week gave a good example. Like when you're going to measure your feet, you use inches, right? I mean, when you're going to measure your height, you use feet. When you measure going, I don't know, around the track or driving from here to the north side, you measure miles. So we're used to those types of distances. It's really hard, even for adults, to comprehend the vastness of space. You can fit, I mean, I don't know the distance between the sun and Earth is so far that's how long it takes for light to travel. And it's really hard to explain it in words. You'd have to use probably visual examples to show the students. So maybe we can find some kind of video and put it up there.
There's a video that Natasha had that shared, and it's on. Oh no, I have it on my thumb drive. That's on my lanyard now, I believe. I'll have to look, but it shows like the Earth, and then it keeps showing the different sizes, and it's showing like as far as like size and how far everything.
Oh yeah.
And it goes all the way. It's really cool. I'll have to see if I do have it on this thumb drive that I have. If so, I'll share it with y'all.
I don't know how you can explain.
So the main concept is that light travels.
Yes.
And the sun is so far away that by the time the light gets to Earth, 8 minutes is already.
Yes.
The sun's 93 million miles away.
Yes.
Million miles.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to really understand. Like, well, why can't it? If I see the sun, isn't it just on? Like, so they turn on a light switch and the light turns on automatically, right? And they see it. Or they can look down the street, a light turns on and they see it. But
it's actually taking that light from the street light, like at least a millionth of a second to get to you. It's just not instantaneous.
Right.
But it's right there as opposed to 93 million miles away.
Yeah. I think they think that the sun, if it just turns on, that you would be able to see it because that's the perception we have on Earth with light. That's our experience, I think. And so it's hard for them to grasp that.
So, and this is something that really blew my mind. I think I was in high school and my science teacher told me this. They said, so technically, every time you look in the mirror, you're looking at the past because it takes your eyes time. It takes the light from the mirror, like from the light that hits the mirror is getting reflected back to you. So you're never really seeing anything in the present moment. Even like if you're looking at your own hand and you're moving your hand, it's taking some time for the light to reach your eye. Now it's instantaneous, or it feels instantaneous because the time measurement is so small, but in reality, every time you look out into the world, you're looking into the past. And that really blew my mind.
Yeah, and I think you just took a bunch of sixth graders' heads and they're all going, I don't get it.
That will be on the test. That question was from Haley.
Man, yeah, it's a good
Wow, y'all are sending me some smart kids next year.
Okay, here is a question from Miss Norman that has nothing to do with science. They want to know, is Miss Norman strict?
I can be when I need to be, yes. I can be, I'm kind of like, you guys, I can be fun, but I can also be very mean if I need to be.
Yeah, like most good teachers. This one is from Elijah Rodriguez. How long have you been a science teacher?
This is my 8th year teaching.
All at Kingsborough?
So, all at Kingsborough. I might be a lifer.
How many years?
Huh? 8 years?
How many
It's already 8 years, dude.
It's been 8 years already. Wow.
Yeah. This is finishing up my 8th year.
And were you with Miss Tishoff the entire time?
I've been with Miss Tishoff the entire time, yes.
Not next year.
Nope, there's an opening coming up. Miss Tishoff is retiring, so I will have a new partner next year. Who will it be?
Okay, now this question is for both of you. They want to know, or they want to know your opinion on how advanced do you think we are compared to, like, if there is other life forms in the universe, are we extremely advanced Are we at the top, or do you think we're at the bottom?
I think there's life forms in the universe that are primitive still. We're probably not even in the middle, I would imagine. But we're not at our we're not even close to being at our capacity. Nope. Not yet.
But compared to like other life forms, what do you think?
I think we're primitive still.
I have not really given it a lot of thought. I guess I'm a life science person, so I'm more concerned about the Earth and all the living things there. So when it starts coming to space, other than, like the stuff I do with Space Club, I've never really given it a lot of thought.
I mean, compared to the other life forms here on the planet, you would say that we're the most advanced here on planet Earth, right?
I mean, I would think, yes, we are. I mean, humans are, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if there is other life forms out there, then I mean, it is possible they're more advanced than us, and maybe that's why we haven't figured out they're out there yet. Except for Area 51.
Yeah, we talked about Area 51 for like a long time. What do you think is going on inside Area 51?
I don't know. It just I think that they know things that I think they know things that they don't want us to know. It's the government.
That's always going to be a fact. But yes. I think Elvis Presley, possibly Tupac, back maybe, I don't know.
Oh, you think they're hidden there?
Yeah, they're hiding underground over there.
I blew the sixth graders' minds before we left. I said, let me tell you what's going on inside Area 51. And this is all made up, but they really believed me for a while. I said, I told them the story about this this Christian missionary who went, this happened like in 2012. He went to like this remote island and he ran into like a bunch of like Aborigine people, like
yes, I've heard about that. And they ate him or something, or killed him?
They killed him. Yeah. Like the government told him, don't go over there. We're not going to protect you. You have to leave these people alone. They don't know that the outside world exists. And then he went over there and then they killed him. And I said, but these people who lived over there, they have no idea of like cell phones or technology or anything like that. They're still living like the way people lived like 100,000 years ago.
Cavemen, yeah.
Yeah, cavemen. And I said, when you go inside Area 51, that's like the real world. And we are actually inside Area 51, and aliens come and visit us, but it's actually us from the future, and they're seeing how we live. And they were like, that's not true. And I'm like, yes, and let me show you some proof. And so I just looked up some like dumb websites that prove anything you want to prove. And they were all like, all freaked out. And I was like, no, I'm just kidding. That's not what's really going
crazy.
On. But some of them were like really shook. Like, what? Are you serious? We're inside Area 51? And I'm like, yeah, that's what's going on.
Hi, Happy.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, my dogs are trying to get in on. My son wanted to say hi.
What school does he go to?
He goes to Bernal Middle School.
Bernal, where's that at?
It's over off of Petranco, like off Petranco Road, inside of Bella Vista.
Outside 1604.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he gets home,
he's the Black Knights. See, we're the Knights, and they're the Black Knights.
That's what they are, Black Knights?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Who's the Black Knights?
Bernal Middle School, where my son goes.
Oh, Bernal.
So, like, when he gets homework for 7th grade, do you know all the answers? Like,
yes.
Does he ever ask you, can you just give me the answers?
Sometimes, and I won't. Now, it was funny. Sometimes his teacher does assign him things that I do in class. I'm like, hey, we did that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know all the answers.
It freaks me out when Quintero told me that he like taught his own kids. I'm like, that is so weird. I don't know how.
I don't know that I would want to do that. I wouldn't wanted to taught my kids.
Remember that? They actually had. Remember, I didn't have them initially, but that was. I actually thought, man, this is not going to be, but it might be difficult. But looking back on it, it was. I guess I feel like I was blessed to have them because now they're in high school and they're gone, and so.
Like, what would you do? like in the middle of class, if you said, "Hey, get back to work, Emma," and she said, "I don't want to. I hate this." Like, what would you do?
I wouldn't. That would never been a scenario because she would never do that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, what about Nick?
Nick, on the other hand,
No, he would have been like, "Hey, Nick, wake up."
yeah, he was more of a clown, so he kind of joked around a little bit. But I mean, a lot of kids do that anyways, and he was never disrespectful. And once, if I had to tell him something, he would listen right away. So
Yeah.
that
He's
wasn't.
got good kids. I taught Nick, and he was, I mean, fine.
Now though, oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's because he's in high school.
He's 18 and he thinks he knows it all. Now that's a whole different ball game now.
I bet he still leaves his instrument laying around everywhere.
Oh my god, he leaves everything laying around.
He can't. He would never remember anything.
I'm the blue hair boy.
Oh yeah, I let. Well, speaking of going crazy during this quarantine,
Yeah.
I dyed my son's hair blue yesterday.
Nice.
Yes, it's.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna tell Emma she might as well dye her hair.
Yeah,
now
I
if there's a
mean,
chance.
we're not going anywhere, so I'm like, sure. So I got that splat stuff. It's like 30 washes.
It burned.
You might as well
Bleach.
let your beard grow too, Quintero. They can't tell you to shave it.
That's true.
Well, I only cut it off for sanitary.
There are
purposes,
sanitary reasons.
but yeah, so that's the only reason right now. But yeah, I thought about that, but my biggest thing is getting a haircut.
I need a haircut too. My hair's already starting to get longer.
I'll do
It's
it.
getting on my nerves.
Okay, here's another question, and this one's pretty good. I don't think they meant it to be this good, but it kind of is. What's science all about?
Okay, stop.
Discovery.
This is my
That's from Abby, my 5th period. What's science all about? Like, what's the
Science-
point of learning science? Like, why do we even study?
Well, it's life, first off.
Yeah,
It's how everything works.
what's the first thing that they learn in 7th grade?
In 7th grade, we start off with cells. So it's what every living thing's made of, one or more cells.
We're actually going to get into cells, I think, next month. And I remember the criteria for life. Let's see if I can get them all right. It has to be
Okay.
able to react to the environment. It
Okay.
has to be made of cells,
One or more cells.
one or more cells. It has to be able to not duplicate, but
Reproduce.
reproduce. That's right. Did I already say react to the environment?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be able to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be able to. Is that all of them? Is there one more?
There's more.
Has to be able to like consume. Is that one thing?
Yeah, take on energy.
Yeah, take on energy. And that's
It also-
5. I think there's 5 of them that we teach, and I think those are the 5.
Yeah, and then we teach they have to be able to expel waste or eliminate waste
Yeah.
and heal. All
No, we
living
don't-
things are
we
able
don't
to
teach that.
heal. Like repair in some way.
Okay, Quintero. So how is that going to change once we create artificial intelligence? Like, they don't have cells.
No, they don't. But I think a lot of science fiction that you see on TV comes to pass. It actually will happen in the future. So I think what you're going to see is, I believe, you're going to see like bioengineering, where you're going to see artificial intelligence combined with organic material eventually in some time in the future. People have pacemakers in their body already to help their hearts. These are devices in them. They're not organic, but they're technology that helps the heart. So there's a lot of things that are starting to the hands. You've seen those videos of the hands where people can
Oh, yes.
get their hand amputated, and they have some type of neural network or their muscle movement allows them to move the hand. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of videos on that, but I think artificial intelligence eventually might take over a lot of. You see it in grocery stores, and not necessarily artificial intelligence, but you see self-checkouts. You see ordering. Have you seen the videos of Amazon when you order stuff? They have the robots moving them from place to place.
Yeah, we actually, over at Southwest Research, we did a tour. I think it was last year with Space Club. It may have been the year before. but they showed us they make some of that there, and they showed us the arm that picks up and moves, and it can recognize whenever the box doesn't land just right on the conveyor, and it'll self-correct. It was crazy watching it. It was really neat. Actually, I may have a video of that as well. I have to search. It was real cool.
All I know is that if you hear a company called Cyberdyne in the future that's starting to take over all the technology, I think we need to be wary of that.
Would creating artificial intelligence be a good idea or bad idea?
But
Good.
There's some prominent names that say it's a bad idea. Like Stephen Hawking says it's a bad idea. Elon Musk says it's a bad idea. There's some pretty big names that say no. You're just basically creating your new master, and they're going to eventually take over.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you see in all the movies, they go crazy and start taking over things.
Yeah.
It's gonna. The advancement of AI it's inevitable. It's already here. It's just becoming more advanced. So you can't stop it.
No, I think if used properly, it's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
what he was talking about, like if someone who's had a arm amputated and they're able to reconnect the nerves to the fake nerves and make them, that's a good thing.
There's a
we haven't even got into biohacking. Oh my gosh, that's a whole different thing though. We won't get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit.
What's biohacking? I haven't heard this.
We talked about that a little bit last year at the end. I asked the kids, like, is it okay? Is it ethical for a man and a woman to go to the doctor and say, okay, I want to have a baby, and I want the baby to have blue eyes and blonde hair, and I want them to be 6 feet 8 inches tall. Like, is it okay to design your own baby?
Yeah, but that's not natural selection. That's what I'm saying. And
yeah.
There was actually some websites with that type of. It wasn't a biohacking, but it was picking your like a person would have these attributes, and you can pick the one you wanted to have a child, their egg or their sperm donor. You can have one of those.
Oh yeah, you do that.
Those genetic traits, and there was some websites that had that, and they had shut some down because of it. But I've seen some where you've seen that guy who goes around the world teaching people how to hack the genes, kind of like, remember when CRISPR came out and they were able to splice genes and then put them into animals, and so there's that it's a bacteria that does that, but it's readily available. You can order it, and people are actually inject themselves with stuff like that to try to biohack themselves.
So why is it okay? Like if they were to tell you, like if you're going to have another kid and the doctor were to say, we can make it so this kid doesn't get sick anymore. We can biohack their genes and they're not going to get chicken pox or they're not going to get any type of disease. That would be okay. But why is it not okay for you to say, well, I want them to be 6 foot 5 inches tall? What's the difference?
I still think natural selection. I still think that once you start doing that, and then you start reproducing with someone who's been genetically fixed, with someone who hasn't, and then you have like almost like a mixed breed of genetically altered beings with natural beings, where people are created naturally and people that are not, and then you have a mix. I mean, it's unethical for one. I think it is. It's unethical to do that.
But wasn't that argument used the same thing with like Testtube Babies when they said that's not natural? Women should have babies like to the natural way, and if you're going to start like combining sperm and eggs in a lab, that's not natural. That goes up against nature. And now we know that that's not necessarily true. Like a woman could freeze her eggs and have a baby at a later time in her life, and she could pick a sperm donor, and that's totally normal. But when it first came out, it seemed like, well, that's crazy, because we've always had children the natural way for thousands of years. And now we're getting to the next step where we're saying, no, you don't need to like wonder, am I going to have a boy or a girl, or how are they going to come out? Like, no, now we can make it so you decide if you want a boy or girl. You decide if you want them to be healthy. I mean, I don't think anybody will decide not to have a healthy kid, but you can decide what color their hair is and stuff like that. So how is that any different? Aren't we just in the beginning stages?
Well, I think because that's actually messing with the genetic makeup. Like if you talk about test tube babies, they're literally taking someone's eggs and they're taking the sperm, they're combining them. You don't know what you're going to get. And they might not even be viable. You could always, I mean, a lot of times when they do that and then they fertilize and then insert, a lot of times those babies will end up terminating. They won't get through. So it's still kind of like the real childbirth thing. But if you're talking about this, then you're actually going in and genetically altering and choosing what you want, like the pieces. I think that's where the moral thing comes in.
And what makes it immoral?
The fact that you're tampering with it, I guess. I mean,
yeah, I think that's a slippery slope right there. Once you start allowing people to genetically modify any organism, humans for that matter, that's very, very, one, it's unethical, and it's then who gets to do it? Who gets to afford it? It's going to cost a lot of money, and then you're going to have that where, okay, we can do it, but it costs a lot of money, and only the wealthy are going to be able to do it. And so there's a lot. I mean, there's so many things. Like for one, I just think it's unethical.
But that's interesting you say that, because you said it's unethical for humans to do that, but we genetically modify animals. How come that's not unethical?
I think it is.
We make it so chicken have larger breasts so that we can cut them up and eat them. We make it so cows have more muscles. We inject animals with these chemicals so they can change their body. That way we can take advantage of them. So how come that's not seen as unethical? And should it be, or do you think it is unethical?
Well, I don't think a lot of people even know that that's going on, for one.
yeah, I agree.
I think you go to the store, they buy what they want, and they don't realize all the behind the scenes of what goes behind that. I don't think they realize that. So that's being not knowing about that stuff is, one of the major reasons why it's not a big deal. But I don't think you should, just because you can doesn't mean how does it?
Yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Help me out here.
We're talking about what?
Yeah, there you go.
There's that scene from Jurassic Park where he says the scientists knew they could, but they never questioned whether they should.
Stop.
Yeah.
They should, yeah. And that's kind of like where it's at, right? That's with the advancement of technology, whether it's biohacking or artificial intelligence, we can, so we're doing it. And that's the big question, right? As we push forward, should we continue to push forward?
My answer is yes. Let's just go crazy and see what happens on the other side.
No, I'd rather not.
I mean, that's where we're at right now. Right now, we're all stuck inside. We can't go outside, all because some dude wanted to eat a bat. That doesn't make any sense, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I still don't get it. Like, who wants to eat bat? Ugh, I don't know.
I mean, isn't that what happened? I
think so. I think it was an undercooked bat. But then I read something that said that that it's not traced back to the bat, that it came from somewhere else. But I don't know that I believe that either. I don't know. You never know what to believe. The media tells you so many different things. I don't watch a lot of news because of that.
So many different articles about
it is
where it's come from. I know they're hunting. They're out there trying to figure out where it came from. I know that much. But,
well, they know it came from Wuhan.
Yeah, they did. That's where the origin is. So
started in China, which is where we get everything from.
Have y'all seen Outbreak or Contagion?
No, I saw that you watched it.
Yeah, Contagion is more realistic. It's like kind of what's going on now. Outbreak is like the cartoon version of it, where as soon as you get it, you die like 5 minutes later. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah. But like Contagion is the real one. Yeah.
You know what? I still love World War Z.
That's a good one.
I love that movie.
I haven't seen that one either.
I liked it.
Great movie, man. Yeah.
Like I like zombie movies, but then Neil deGrasse Tyson ruined it for me when he said zombies are not possible, and they said, "Well, why not?" And he said, "Because if you get bit by a dog, you don't turn into a dog. You just get a disease. Like you could get sick. So a zombie, if you were to get bit by one, why would you turn into a zombie? You would just get sick. There's nothing there's nothing that bites you and you turn into it. And zombies are the only thing that you do. Like if
because there's zombies, it goes to your head and it attacks your brain.
werewolves. You get bit by a werewolf, you turn into
Dude,
a werewolf.
what about
on
a
a full moon,
vampire? You
right?
get bit by a vampire, you turn into a vampire.
Come on, Edward.
Two
Come on,
things that are
get
not
with it.
real.
Let's go, Edward.
That's why it's called science fiction.
Yes, fiction.
I heard that if a werewolf doesn't know he's a werewolf, then it would make him an un-werewolf. So think about that.
Oh, I'll ponder that one for a while.
An unaware-wolf. Nice.
Yeah, let's talk about some imponderables. Like,
Do you have Amazon Prime?
so,
You have Amazon Prime?
yes, I have Amazon
Yes.
Prime. Yeah.
Have you watched The Expanse?
No.
You told me about it. I
So
still haven't got into it.
I love sci-fi, and that has, I think, 4 seasons. But I started watching it from season 1.
I have to check it
It's
out.
Great.
I need a new
Great,
season of something. I just
Oh, man,
finished
it is.
my one that I was watching.
Oh, the best
There
thing
is-
to see is The Good Place. Have you seen The Good Place?
No?
Oh, gosh.
You gotta
Emma-
watch The Good Place.
Emma and Jessica watch that together all the time.
Yeah.
What is that on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay, The Good Place. I need a new series, so I'll check
Yeah.
it out.
It's hilarious. It's quick. It makes you think. It makes you like ponder all these questions. And yeah, you'll love it. Watch it,
Check
and
it
then
out.
I guarantee you, next time we talk, you're gonna be like, if you're barely like in the middle of season 1 or whatever, you're gonna be asking me all these questions. It's gonna be amazing.
Okay. I'll get on that, The Good Place. I'm going to write that down.
All right. Somebody wanted to know. Well, actually, I want to know this. Do you think that twins have ever realized that one of them was unplanned?
Hey, maybe.
Like twins never really think about that, but one of them, nobody ever plans to have twins. It just happens.
No, there are some people. I'm gonna tell you, when I had my first baby, I wanted twins. I was hoping to have 2 at once and knock it out.
That's true. That's what I told Virginia too. I said, why don't we just have twins or triplets and
Yeah.
that's it. We're done instead of.
Yeah, that would have been one time. Then I would have been done. Wouldn't have had to have 2. But you know,
If you had identical twins, would you buy both their school pictures?
ooh, that's a good point. Depends on if I dressed them alike that day or not. If I had identical twins, I don't know. I would not well, I probably, when they were little, I would dress them alike. But once they got, a little bit older, I do believe I would dress them differently.
If I had 2 girl twins, I would dress them like the twins from The Shining all the time.
Something tells me you were being completely honest about that too.
If you had an identical twin and they were like standing next to you and somebody said, ew, that person is ugly, would you feel bad?
Well, yeah, because you're identical.
If
I
you
have an identity somewhere.
do you think it's hard to date somebody who has an identical twin and then like you see their twin and they're like going out with somebody else? You think that's hard?
That's what I wondered. Like, would you be, but also think about it. If you're dating and they're identical and you're physically attracted to them, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like, would that be confusing?
Well, here's a heartbreaking story. I remember I read a story one time that said like some girl was dating some guy and they got married and he had an identical twin, but then her husband died, and then she goes to the funeral and she sees the identical twin there, and she's like crying over this guy, but every time she looks up, she's looking at her husband who's still alive,
Oh.
but it's her brother. And I was like, that's crazy. Wait, that's
Gosh, that would be terrible.
yeah. And then there's those videos on YouTube where like they have an identical twin and then they're holding their baby, but then like their kid looks at their aunt or uncle and they're like, hey, you look just like my mom. And then the kid gets confused. Have you seen those videos?
Oh, yes, that would be like mind-blowing for them.
I think it'd be easy to have a babysitter though, right? Like you could say, okay, you're going to go stay with your aunt. And then like, no, I'm staying with you. Like it doesn't make any sense.
That's true. They wouldn't get upset, right?
Yeah.
The things that are entering your mind as you sit in quarantine.
Yeah, these are the things that I think about.
See,
Yeah,
I think about, gee, what could I watch on TV? Or maybe I should go paint a rock, and I paint.
Is that really is that like what's the one I'm looking for? Like meditating? Does that calm
Like
you down?
painting?
Yeah.
Yes, painting is very calming for me.
See, but I can't paint. I can't draw. Maybe I could paint. I could color, but I can't draw. You got to give me a rock that already has it so I can.
Already sketched out.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to necessarily draw because, I mean, you could just do, like, I do some dotting sometimes. So I'll just dot in,
Yeah.
like, just make it symmetrical. I don't always do intricate ones. Like one of the ones that I did the other day. Yeah, go get me a couple color. Are little monsters. Like I painted all one color and then I put silly faces on it. And it's just something that does calm me down because I'm like pretty ADHD. So I'm like all over the place with stuff and I start things and don't finish. So like painting is something that I can get done quickly.
Yeah.
And so I feel like accomplished because I've done something. I guess is the way to put it. I'm like the person that when I'm watching TV, I have to be coloring or playing on my iPad or something at the same time. I can't just sit down and watch TV.
Yeah.
Like I can't do just one thing. My mind is just going.
All right. So looks like we're coming up to close to like 45 minutes. So what is something that you want to tell your students before we leave? Quintero?
Well, I miss the classroom. I miss my students. I hope that they're staying safe, keeping themselves safe right now. And it's just one of those things that, we're trying our best to communicate with them and help them out with their work. And so just to keep that in mind that we're in this together. We will get through this and eventually we'll all back be at campus. It'll happen. And we'll all talk about it and remember how crazy it was.
Nice. All right, Norman, what's something you want to tell your I'm going to share this link with you so you can show it to your class too.
Okay.
What's something you want to tell your class?
Basically the same. I mean, it's funny when you're in school and you're tired and you're working, you're like, gosh, I really am looking forward to the weekend, or, we were all looking forward to spring break, but we knew, okay, there was a set time and then we were going back to normal and we were going back to school. So when that didn't happen, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, I miss my students. I miss my classroom. I miss, the joking around, the going back and forth. I miss all of that and the interaction, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those huggers. I have to hug. And so like being in a house with, and I'm like, I'm not getting hugs. I feel just, ugh.
You're like Poppy from Trolls. You need a hug.
Yes, I need a hug. My son will give me hugs every now and then. My daughter, she's 16. She's like, ew, get away from me. So, I mean, I do get hugs on occasion when I visit my friend. But other than that.
See, I could like just sit in a room with a bunch of people and I just like start to feel like energized. Like I'm like Superman with the sun. Like I just feel energized and I just start talking and it just goes off and I can't stop. And then when I'm just stuck at home all day, it's like I don't have any energy and I'm just like, oh, this is horrible.
I get that way too.
Yeah.
Here, see? There's one rock. This is the easy one I did.
Oh, that's good.
See, it's just a little monster. And then this is what I mean by dotting. See, I just dotted. That was it.
Yeah.
And then my son did one. So that's how we relax around here.
Nice. All right. And to my students, I just want to say I enjoy making videos for you. I hope you're safe. And I look forward to seeing you at some point next year. Right now, we're just scheduled to stay away from school until what, May 4th?
May 4th.
But I anticipate it going longer. But until
a lot of states have already said yes, I know. So
yeah.
I mean, I would love to go back May 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fine with the first, April 17th or something?
Yeah.
Which means we would have like a week left. Yeah. So
see what happens.
All right. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.